Hello and welcome to the big picture. The parliament session has just ended. This was the first budget session of the new the full-fledged budget session of the new NDA government, and there were a lot of expectations as well as speculations about it. The government, however, seems to have got through this session pretty well, as we have seen that some of the most key legislations which they wanted to get it passed, the ordinances which they have brought on that, have been passed in both houses of the parliament. So to that extent, the government seems to have succeeded in its task. However, there seems to have been some kind of an opposition unity also, which seems to have come up. So in all, we will look at the entire session, this session, the first half of the budget session which has just ended, and we'll see what will be the gains for the government as far as governance issues are concerned, and also if there are any gains to the opposition also. To discuss this, I have with me Tapan, Rajya Sabha MP of the CPI-M, Rajiv Gowda, Congress MP in the Rajya Sabha, GVL Narasimha, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Anita, Katyal, Senior Journalist, and Anant Bagaitkar, Chief of News Bureau of Sakaal Group of Newspapers. Welcome to all of you. Narasimha, would you consider that this session as successful as you people had hoped it would be?
I think it's been a pretty successful session because five major bills, 5 ordinances have been converted into acts through this session. I think today, both last week we had insurance bill having been passed, and today we had mines and minerals and coal bills, which are part of a very important part of economic legislation before the government. The government was successful in getting all-round support in Rajya Sabha, where we certainly are in a minority. I think it's been a pretty successful session. The only challenge remains to be the land acquisition bill. I think the government will certainly evolve a strategy, and we will certainly try and get that passed as soon as possible.
Mr. Rao, you mentioned the land acquisition bill. This was one of the most key legislations which the government was expecting to pass in this session. To that extent, it has been a failure on the part of the government to get everybody around to agreeing to what, even though you managed to get it passed in Lok Sabha with some 9 amendments, you could not even bring it up in the Rajya Sabha.
I know there's certainly in this land acquisition bill, the politics prevailed over logic, and the government will certainly continue to persuade the opposition, and it's a disappointment we could not get this done in the first part of the budget session. But certainly, I think this was something which was evident from the beginning. This was a challenge. It's not that things have really suddenly turned against. The government was willing to make amendments. It has already effected 9 amendments to the bill. But yet, I think some parties continue to really stall support to this bill. So this is certainly not something that the government would have ideally liked to happen. But still, I think this is a challenge that we are certainly we were aware of, and we will try and overcome in the later part of the session.
Okay. Rajiv? Politics over logic, which is very interesting. First, this is on the land acquisition, but as far as the other bills are concerned, you people tried your level best to stall it as much as you can, but you couldn't.
No. I think you should look at 2 aspects of legislation and the legislative process. One part is the content, the other part is the process. When you look at the process, the fact that they promulgated ordinances, when there were bills like insurance that we were going to go through anyway, was a slap in the face, especially of members of parliament in the Rajya Sabha and MPs in general. So, when you see that kind of behavior, then you automatically get a reaction, and you saw that reaction in the form of the amendment to the motion of thanks to the President's address in the Rajya Sabha. So when you look at process, again...
That was something which happened for the first time.
Not for the first time. Apparently, historically, it's happened 3-4 times, but it's not happened in recent memory. Now, in terms of today's bills that were passed, coal and mines, you saw the Congress opposing those, partly because Again, these were, the select committee process was rushed through. Many, issues such as state inputs, protection of labor, lots of issues like that were not really considered properly. So basically, the signal that's coming through here, and where, is that it's not just about the content of bills, it's also about the process that the government uses and follows in order to reach out and create some kind of consensus. Now, as far as the land bill is concerned, you can see that there is a Lakshman Rekha there, right? And that Lakshman Rekha...
1 second. Yes, Narasimha Rao. And 1 second. Narasimha Rao, what is it?
Yeah, if there is anything, I think this session, is actually a big rebuff to the Congress party and its negative and obstructionist politics. 3 days ago, they felt they were able to rally the entire opposition with them.
Okay.
And today, I think most parties have deserted them.
Okay, we'll come back.
So I think it's, if anything, it's the Congress party which has egg on its face.
Okay, Rajiv, egg on your face.
Well, egg is a very tasty protein dish, so there's no problem. The point is, there is a Lakshman Rekha here, and that Lakshman Rekha was on the land bill, and you could see very, very clearly that not just parties in the opposition, but even the allies of the ruling BJP are also opposed to this move. So it's very, very clear. It's beef in your face, is what I would say to the BJP, because this is the most. It's very, very clear that they have gone too far in trying to appease corporate India, multinationals, to sell India's land, the tribals and the farmers and the landless labor.
Okay.
They do not have any concern for those who are going to lose land. They're willing to just sell everything. And you could see opposition unity, and not just opposition unity, even a break in the NDA ranks as well. So there is no problem with the kinds of developments that you've seen. These are examples of parties like the Congress reaching out and cooperating to ensure that legislation and the parliament functions in the interest of the people of India.
Okay, Tapan, it's very interesting. Rajiv Gowda was talking of content and processes. Many of the legislations, the ordinances which had to be passed as legislations, the problem of the Congress was the processes. Yours was not just the process, the content also.
No. We have seen
despite that
about the contents as well, and we have been consistently taking that position, I think, right from the very beginning. At no point of time in between, left taken any position for the sake of any expediency. What Mr. Narasimha told, politics and logic, sometimes it evokes laughter. The problem is that the same, only in 13, they passed a land acquisition bill. After wide-ranging consultation, and the bill passed unanimously. The standing committee has looked into it, a wide range of consultation with the stakeholders, and ultimately we came round to this thing. What heaven falls, that even before 2 years is completed, that bill is to be changed, and for the purpose, the basic component of the bill has to be totally altered. So, as we have told at the time of budget also, it's now the payback time. I think probably we are passing through that pressure.
No, but they have...
By which they are rushing through.
Absolutely. No, as far as
unmindful, number one, they are rushing through. Okay, the path of reform, there may be difference in perception. But the basic requirement, say today mine and mineral and coal bill you have passed. But the basic requirement of the players to be taken care in between those who are involved in the whole process.
The stakeholders.
Neither the labor nor the who will be losing land or who will be the inhabitant. It has not been taken care except in the sound bite.
Okay, but Tapan,
Mr. Jaitley
Tapan, my question is...
only went on giving sound bite, not once. Let me tell you, for these two bills, at the time of budget speech, leader of the House intervened. Again, yesterday, while replying to budget without any reference, none of the speaker, including I think Rajiv, has raised any reference in his budget speech, budget discussion on coal or mineral bill, but he brought himself to that thing. So it is a continuous giving, and we understand their concern of addressing the payback time in a month.
Okay, Anant, the fact of the matter is that when the session started, there were quite a bit of doubts about how much the government will be able to succeed in several of these on several of these issues. One, of course, that, as far as the budget itself was concerned, there were huge and high expectations as far as the budget is concerned. You think that where they did not really meet up to the expectations as far as the budget is concerned, they have come up to their own expectations largely when it comes to legislations?
Legislation, yes, because they brought these legislation through ordinances. And it was mandatory on the government that they have to be passed before this first part of the session.
Which they managed pretty well, which was not expected. There were a lot of...
From government's point of view, it is a fruitful first part of the session. But generally, legislative business during the budget session is generally taken up in the second half of the budget session. But since government was bent upon and it was mandatory on the government that these ordinances have to be passed, they have to go for this. Means one can say they have to go for the kill. And they had to pass these ordinances and converted them into the act. But as far as land acquisition is concerned, I think it is more political than the act or the bill itself. Because Congress also took up all the opposition on board. Another thing that this bill and against this bill, Congress could sense that there is a large scale dissatisfaction among the farming community, and even one can say that the BKU, which is once they were with BJP, or during the Lok Sabha election BKU was with BJP, they also came in Delhi, they had a dharna and demonstration. Yes. I think sensing that, all the opposition parties under the leadership of Congress party, they came together to block this land acquisition bill. I think there is more politics into it than the legislative part of it.
The legislative part of it, absolutely. Anita, in fact, do you think that this land acquisition bill, actually, as far as the opposition is concerned, in this session, that turned out to be some kind of a, blessing in disguise for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that, as far as economic issues are concerned, there is always a division. Reforms are concerned, there is always a division between various parties within the opposition because they have different lines on it. Like you saw in the last session, when they had this, the communal, they all got together on the hate speeches made by some of the ministers and the communal agenda which was being followed by the affiliate bodies of the BJP. That is one issue which brought together all the opposition parties. Land bill is a similar thing, which has kind of become a rallying force for all the political parties to come together. Unlike the other bills, because every party has its own line, especially now because the government was able to convince the various regional parties that, they have a lot to gain. The states are going to gain a lot.
Yes, especially the coal and mines
bill. And also the Finance Commission report, the 14th Finance Commission report, which is kind of giving a lot more to the states now. The allocations have gone up to the states. So to that extent, the government was able to convince them. But on this issue, I think like Anant has said and everybody else has said, there is absolute unity. I mean, for instance, Mamta cannot afford to go back on it. Her whole politics was based on that, on Singur and Nandigram and all that. And she has to send a very, very strong message to her electorate. And I think, and in fact, within the BJP also, there are divisions. I mean, they might agree with the bill as such, but as Anand said, it's politics. They realize, I mean, they admit that the message that has gone down is, the perception that has gone down to the people is that this is anti-farmer and it is pro-corporate. And that they have to somehow educate the people. They have to go out and hard sell this bill to the people and convince them that, okay, there is merit to it. And so they need this time. Absolutely. So they're buying time, to kind of... Yeah.
But Narasimha, the question is that some of the bills, ordinances which you managed to get it passed are all concerning economic reforms, and somehow or the other, whether you like it or not, it will be seen as being pro-corporate. You take whether the mines or the coal or the insurance, and then here is a bill, here is an ordinance on land acquisition, which is supposed to be in the interest of farmers, which you people have not been able to get it passed. So you think willy-nilly you have fallen into a trap?
I think it's absolutely incorrect because it was the Congress party which had the kind of relationship, the kind of corporate interests, the lobbies that worked in the Congress party. We know the kind of scam that existed, the coal scam. Even the former Prime Minister now is facing charges of corruption in a court. I think this government has to be given credit for a complete open auction, which barely 30 odd coal mines have yielded more than 2 lakh crores to the states. And the bills that have been passed today, the coal and mines, both, I think the auctions will be completely transparent auction processes. So where is the corporate interest in this? It is the crony capitalism is a complete, I think, unique aspect of the Congress party. Okay, now coming to the insurance bill, I think you are possibly understating the importance of this session. This insurance bill had been hanging fire for over a decade.
Right.
Over a decade. And you are making it look as if the panelists on your panel are making it look as though it's it's a normal victory. I think it's a gigantic step. It's a massive victory for the government to be able to get all parties on board, to get a majority to get these bills passed. I think is a momentous decision. As far as the land bill is concerned, there is complete unanimity in the party. The manner in which, the form in which the bill had been passed in Lok Sabha has the total support of the party. So let nobody entertain any doubts that some kind of divisions and perceptions exist in the party. The entire party is united in getting this bill passed in the shape that Lok Sabha had passed the bill, and we are confident we will certainly succeed going forward.
Okay.
It will take a little time. We have missed the bus in this first part of the session, but we will certainly come back and get it passed in the later part of the session.
Okay. Rajiv, the question is this, that there was apparently, there was this, the Lok Sabha went on quite smoothly, obviously because of the numbers which the government has there, whereas in the Raj Sabha, because of the numbers the opposition has, government found it difficult, and we thought, many people thought that they would not be able to get some of the. But do you think that the government has successfully managed to break the opposition in the Raj Sabha?
I wouldn't at all call it breaking the opposition. There are different issues that have come up. For example, when you look at the insurance bill, right? Now, it's hilarious to watch Narasimha Rao champion the insurance bill and talk about a 10-year delay, when it is his party and Mr. Jaitley and others who were the leading opponents of FDI increases in insurance. Everyone remarked about how Yashwant Sinha had been the main opponent, and his son Jayant Sinha is the one who pushed that bill in through Parliament.
That is the generational change.
Generational change, of course. But the point is, the point is,
this is not called generational change.
Yeah, the point is,
to get the consensus.
So
that's
where,
the reality.
So so these guys, the BJP, have made so many U-turns, the whole country is dizzy because they can't figure out where these guys, where are they now, where are they taking us, right? So on some issues like insurance, we were happily supporting them because it was our bill. On mines and minerals, on coal, as Anita has just pointed out, the states have a lot to gain, so they've cooperated. But even that process has not been done right. So there's a lot that the BJP has to learn in terms of respecting parliamentary processes, in terms of trying to work out, bring about a democratic consensus on these kinds of issues. Anyway, as far as the land bill is concerned, you can keep waiting for that bus. You've not only missed it now, that bus is not going to come anywhere near you because that bill was passed with the consensus. It is very clear that the amendments and whatever sort of whatever changes that have been proposed are totally just Namka amendments, and the country knows that Narendra Modi is Kisan Virodhi. That message has gone through very clearly, and you're not going to find anyone supporting you, not even in your own party.
Nonsense.
Okay. Let him have his say, Narasimha Rao. You had your say. Let me get Tapan in. You can come in later. Tapan, to that extent, government can feel very satisfied that they have broken the opposition unity in the Raj Sabha.
Yes, there is reason for them. Yes, they succeeded. What is the harm in admitting what has already happened?
Yes.
But at the same time, Girish, I'll request you to please go into scrutinize some other aspect, throw light on some other aspect. You kindly go through the parliamentary Rajya Sabha, at least Rajya Sabha proceeding on these issues in the span of last 1 week, because on the plan of last 1 week or more, again and again these two bills, both mines and minerals and coal, surfaced in discussion in this way or that way.
Right.
And you hear many of the parties who this time supported that bill, finally, when the time of decision making comes. Their statement, if anybody goes...
Those parties have changed their stand.
They have expressed the same concern, which in essence was summarized in the amendments that has been moved to both the bills. Same concern. So that is also, I think, very interesting point to research. That while in words we are something, in doing things it changes. And here, definitely this government has succeeded in using different kind of tools to manage that support. But I don't think that this can sustainably work. I don't think this will sustainably work. It will come out
Anant, you know, isn't it fair for a government which faces this kind of opposition in the Rajya Sabha? We have seen in the past also governments having majority in Lok Sabha, but in Rajya Sabha, this kind of maneuvering normally happens. Do you see anything different done by this government in getting to break the opposition unity in the Rajya Sabha and getting their bills passed?
No, they will try, because if we go by the words of Mr. Narasimha, he is talking of having some kind of a strategy. Actually, I was expecting that he could have said that government will try for a consensus, because parliamentary democracy is nothing but a consensus. And if government really goes for consensus, I think some way can be found out, and this bill, the remaining bill, that is land acquisition, that can be passed. But I think rigidity, on part of the government and as well as opposition is also bent upon to stall the bill. I think there has to be some way, some via media, some way out, so that this bill can be passed. There will have to be give and take, and that much...
that give and take was not visible this time, because government says that we have walked the extra mile. We went to the Lok Sabha, we passed, we included 9 amendments to the bill, to the ordinance which had been issued. We have walked that mile, but opposition is refusing to do that.
No. Actually, if we miss the way things started getting unfolded after the parliament session started, we the press people who were witnessing parliament and also covering it, we started getting sense that government is trying to get past at least these 5 ordinances. They may leave the 6th one for the next part of the session, because once they are successful in getting these 5 ordinances converted into acts, then remains only the land acquisition.
Right.
And then their grand strategy of having, maybe they can go for joint sitting for this one bill. I think they may think of, they may think in that way.
So that option is left open still.
Yeah,
Anita?
Because 6 ordinances and 6 bills, they could not have passed in a joint sitting.
Absolutely, you can't have it. So they have succeeded. To that extent, Anita, they have succeeded. Because the joint session thing we have been hearing for quite long. So there is this possibility that as far as the land bill is concerned, they could go for a joint session.
No, absolutely. I think it's been a fairly productive session for the government, considering, when, as you said, rightly pointed out, that before the budget session started, everybody was saying that it's going to be stormy and all the opposition is kind of got together and they're going to block everything. Government will have to really fight to get through all its bills.
They had to fight.
They had to fight, yes. But I would say that they were strategized correctly after kind of they realized.
Okay.
Because they felt, like Anant said, that they've decided that let's go through the bills which are less controversial and over which you can kind of create fissures and divisions within the opposition, and leave this for the rest, for the second half. And then try and kind of convince people, or firstly they have to convince their own people and convince, the electorate.
And also within their own alliance, the allies themselves, they need to.
Yeah, especially Shiv Sena is not on board.
Okay, still, very quickly, Rajiv, what is the gain as far as the opposition is concerned?
Well, the opposition was certainly able to show that when it comes to key issues such as land, the cause of farmers, of landless labor, etc., that every one of us is very united and that we will stand united.
Okay, but Mr. Narasimha Rao, very quickly, what are the gains? What are the misses for the government here in this session?
Yeah. No,
you told us about the gains, now tell us about misses.
The negative, the negative, I've talked about both.
Yes.
I think it's the Congress party and the left parties with their negative politics have actually got cornered on the final days of the session. I think it's actually they have to change their strategy ahead. They are seen to be anti-development. That's the message we will take to the people.
Tapan, very quickly.
The land bill, we will say they are actually blocking growth.
Okay, Mr. Rao, we are
blocking employment.
Okay, Mr. Rao, we are completely run out of time.
I can only thank him for his advice, number one. Number two, my understanding that in these expressions, in the whole process, this parliament session, I think a new possibility is emerging. By way, this government will stand more exposed.
Okay, I think
much quicker than even their term completes.
Okay, on that note, we need to end. This has been a very interesting session and the discussion also has been interesting. We'll wait for the second part of the budget session when some of the speculations made and how the government will go ahead with this important land bill and if their processes will improve, as Rajiv Gowda and Tapan Sen says. We'll wait and watch. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue in the big picture, same time on Monday. Meanwhile, have a great weekend.